Martinez, as the days are passing by, your soul continues crying out for justice. Let justice finally take its course, Martinez, so finally your soul can rest in peace. Good evening to all of you viewers of Equinoxe Television, 6 p.m. by City Clock. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the news. Right away, we begin with our magistrates. It is now official. The amount to be paid by passengers for a taxi drop within the day is now 300 francs CFA across the national territory. After 10 p.m., passengers would have to pay 350 francs CFA, but the amount remains 250 francs CFA for students and persons with disabilities. And over 10 persons are still under detention after soldiers stormed a full-blown march in Equinoxe. Equinoxe is a locality in the Fako division of the Southwest region, arresting about 80 youths. We spoke with a legal mind who says it is gross violation of their rights. Those are our magistrates. Stay with us for details and more. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for being with us. We just told you in the headlines that the government of Cameroon finally succumbs to pressure mounted by inter-urban transporters trade unions. For days now, they have been urging the government to increase transportation fare, given that fuel prices have also increased. Immaculate Fogwe tells us more about the new tariffs instituted by the government recently.
As from February 15th, Cameroonians are now obliged to pay 300 francs instead of 250 francs during the day as taxi fare. The tariff at night for taxi has increased to 350 francs instead of initial 300 francs. The increase follows several deliberations between some members of the government and leaders of urban and interurban transport unions. The new provision, however, identified some exceptions, which are students, pupils and disabled persons who are allowed to pay 250 francs within the day and 300 francs at night. While taxi drivers express a sigh of relief, passengers rather condemn the decision as it will rather make life extremely difficult for them. Not all clients have begun paying the new tariff. They say they are not aware, but with time I think they will. Another major problem we'll be facing is that of coins. Coins are very scarce in Cameroon. It is difficult, but we don't have a choice. We'll just adopt to the new tariff. Life gets harder in Cameroon every day. Drivers are complaining about the scarcity of coins. That does not concern us. The government should look into the problem. For those who can't afford the new tariff, overloading a motorcycle is another option. The increase in fuel prices across the national territory accounts for the recent increase in transportation fare in Cameroon.
And Cameroon's Ministry of Finance and other public and private financial stakeholders are calling on actors of the informal sector to get into the treasury bonds in view of helping governments to raise more money for its development drive. This is what brought together the general manager of the state treasury and other stakeholders in Douala today. Babila Jonathan tells us more.
Faced with the difficulty and to an extent the impossibility for states to finance all their development projects, the financial market is presented as a strategic response. Experts say financial markets provide the most appropriate solutions to the financial constraints of states and even individuals.
We have been raising money in financial market to finance different projects. For this year, the Ministry of Finance has been habilitated by the head of state to go to the financial market to look for 450 billions.
In Cameroon, the treasury bonds business is still largely dominated by banks and other institutions representing the primary market. This is why the Cameroon State Treasury General Manager and other stakeholders are in Douala canvassing for the participation of actors of the informal sector.
We want to inform the public that they can participate in the bond issuance of the states.
Private individuals can get involved via their banks to enable government to raise more money for development projects.
Go through your bankers and indicate your willingness to subscribe. And the banks will take all the dispositions for you to be able to get them.
Benefits of financial market financing generate success and growth enabling factors, including credibility, transparency, good management of funds and returns.
The main advantage of getting domestic financing is the fact that it is done in CFA. So we don't have risk of exchange rate risk. Whereas when you borrow from the IMF, you borrow from foreign partners and so on, you have them in dollars. You see the dollars, as they fluctuate, your debt would also be fluctuating.
To benefit from these advantages, those in the informal sector who make up a great proportion of economies of African countries are urged to migrate into the formal sector by, for instance, creating bank accounts.
And now we talk something else. An association of Sawa traditional rulers in the Buri division have somehow been against other media for reporting the involvement of high personalities in the death of Martinez Zogu, whereas the accusers have not been declared guilty. This is contained in a release made public by some Sawa chiefs recently. Mala Glory tells us more.
Release has raised reactions from the public and the press media. The Messager newspaper talk of the accusation of some high personalities. Mitas Young described it as a real swing in position. The traditional rulers in the release see the length of the brutal killing of Martinez Zogu and present their condolence to the bereaved family. The chiefs also express their full support to the ongoing investigation launched by the head of state. Meantime, the same communique condemns the accusation of some high personalities by the media and says those accused have not been officially declared guilty by the law. According to the traditional rulers, the matter can be related to the embezzlement of public funds. The Association of Sawa Traditional Rulers of the Wuri further explained that they won't stand by any son or daughter of the land found guilty of being involved in the mismanagement of COVID funds, AFCON projects fund, Cangate and other cases of mismanagement. By extension, they call on other communities not to take side or hide their sons and daughters implicated in the swindling of state funds. They ended up calling on government to take every measure possible to restore social and economic peace in Cameroon.
And now, viewers, we bring you updates of what has been happening in Econa. 69 persons out of the over 70 people who were arrested in Econa, Moyuka subdivision of the Southwest region have been released. The release comes after a protest by the Econa population at the headquarters of the Gendarmerie brigade in Boya on Wednesday. 16 persons are still to be set free. Human rights lawyer Ewule Edward Lionga says the arrest wasn't done under the norms of the penal code. Simanji Kangibir has more.
On the buses en route to Equinoxe in Moyoko subdivision of the Southwest region are recently freed players and spectators who were arrested illegally by military men during an inter-quarters football tournament in Equinoxe. One of the players, who was amongst the 69 who gained freedom, says the military took them by surprise. We don't know what actually happened, but we were all surprised when the military stormed the field and asked all of us to sit down and that no one should run. They were clear to us that anyone who attempts to escape will be shot. In fear, we all sat down. If the 69 persons freed have already spent a night with their families, some didn't get the same happiness like others because their children were not released. These unfortunate women are frustrated. The first rate he was arrested, but he came out without me paying a dime. I don't know why he was left behind after others have been released. The child is an orphan. I'm his only family. And since he was arrested, everyone is in tears.
So as a I've been very disturbed because no man will be free for day.
I came on Tuesday, but we were asked to leave, and the food I came with didn't meet him. We came to give food, they refused. His friends have been released, but he is not. Joining these women from Equinoxe at Mbongo Square in Boya was human rights lawyer Ewule Edward Lionga, who says it was wrong for the people to be arrested.
The state has the power to carry on investigation. We are not stopping the state from carrying investigation. But the issue is that people who are not committing the crime should not be arrested. That is what I'm trying to say. You see that over 78 of them were released today. It means that they were not part of they did not commit any crime. So our point is that those who have committed crimes should be arrested and prosecuted. So that's what we are trying to say. The state has a right, because of security, to carry on investigation. But the issue is that the investigation should be within the arms of the law. Our criminal procedure code is clear. You cannot arrest people who have not committed crimes.
Ewule Edward Lionga says denying the arrested person's food is also a wrong move by the security forces.
Some of them are saying here that they have gone there with food, they have refused. People should be allowed to see their family members. People should know that their family members are under detention. They should know where they are kept. That is what the law is saying. You cannot arrest people and then you just bring the family members don't know where they are kept. They come with food, you don't give them food. So they should be given food. They should be allowed family members to come and visit them. That is the law.
A human rights activist is also troubled by the illegal arrest.
I'm not really happy with what just happened because it's a violation of women's rights and abuse on the children's part. Why saying so? Because we have the federal law that governs women and international law that covers women. Arbitrary arrest is not correct. You cannot just come. They came in the field and arrest people's children without no notification and no explanation why they are arrested and no justification. And again, what pains me is that when the children even come to ask for food, the parents want to give them food in sale. They are refusing them their right to eat. Why are they treating those children like that?
The prayers of the different family members whose children are still behind bars is for them to be released in no distant time.
Calm down.
An organization known as Equinoxe has published a list of influential personalities in Africa. Among them are 3 Cameroonians, including Alain Foka. Our reporter Lucy Liengu Asia completes the story for us.
According to a report published by Equinoxe Agency, 3 Cameroonians are in the top 10 of the 50 most trusted African personalities. First in ranking is Alain Foka, a journalist who originates from Cameroon. Second position is Samuel Eto'o, Fecafoot's president, whose fans have elevated to the rank of best African football player of all time. Third on the list is Paul Fokam, the founder of the Afriland First Bank Group, still on the list of the 50 African personalities who inspire the most is Nathalie Nyam, 13th position. Next is Francine Ngannou, a Cameroonian French professional mixed martial artist who recently competed in the heavyweight division in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC. Francine Ngannou, 21st position. We also have Abubakar Vincent, a football icon, a Cameroonian professional footballer, Abubakar Vincent, 23rd position. Ecofin Agency also talks of Ashim Bembe, who is a professor of history and political science at the Witwatersrand University of South Africa. Ashim Bembe, 27th position. On the list is His Excellency President Paul Biya, the President of Cameroon, His Excellency Paul Biya, 31st position. Also presented as one of the inspiring personalities is Rebecca Enonchong, a Cameroonian technologist, entrepreneur, and also the founder of Aptech. Rebecca Enonchong, 38th position. 10 head of states appear in the top 50, led by Assimi Goïta, President of Mali, followed by Paul Kagame, President of Rwanda, Alassane Ouattara, President of Ivory Coast, Mohamed IV, King of Morocco, Macky Sall, President of Senegal, and His Excellency Paul Biya, the President of Cameroon, amongst others.
Among those 50 most influential persons, 3 Cameroonians appear among the first 10 on that list. And now we take you out of our national frontier as we continue talking about the upcoming election in neighboring Nigeria. The general election day is fast approaching in Nigeria, and the 5 major challenges facing the country's next president reflect the failures of the Muhammadu Buhari government. The challenges rotate around national cohesion, security, the economy, the university system, and the fight against corruption. For me, Armstrong Sander is our man on that beat.
As Nigerians count down to election day, focus is being narrowed to the major challenges that await the country's next president. The challenges that reflect the failure of the Buhari administration rotate around national cohesion, security, the economy, the university system, and the fight against corruption. Nigeria is more divided and polarized than it has ever been. The cleavages and fault lines of ethnocentrism, sectarianism, sectorialism, parochialism, and religious extremism are pushing the country apart. The polarization is evident in conversations around the de facto rotational presidency, the controversies over presidential candidates and religious faith, the new Biafran separatist agitations in the southeast, and the toxic and bigoted ethnocentrism rhetorics peddled in mainstream and social media. The next president of Nigeria must undertake urgent measures to national reconciliation and integration to avert impending chaos. Observers say. On the collapsing national security, the resurging Boko Haram insurgencies in the northeast is being substituted by a nexus of banditries in the northwest. The north central of Nigeria is still grappling with the deadly farmer herders crisis, while the southeast is still enmeshed in the separatist violence linked to the Biafran agitations. There is also an upsurge in gang and ritual brigandage in the southwest of Nigeria, while the south of the country is still afflicted with militancy, piracy, and oil theft. Nigeria is also battling with a slow economic growth. The national currency, the naira, has been grossly devalued amid a volatile exchange rate. Inflation and unemployment rates are high and rising, according to most Nigerian institutions. In 2022, for example, public universities in the country lost nearly a year due to an industrial dispute between the Federal Union over issues relating to fundings, governance, and workers' welfare.
And now over to this advertorial